Today I'm making condensed tomato soup, which I'm going to either freeze or can. Actually, I think I'm going to do both. So I've got 7.5 pounds of chopped up tomatoes in here, 3 medium onions chopped up in chunks, celery, 6 ribs of celery chopped, cloves, a bay leaf, and some parsley, which I don't have. I just have parsley flakes in here. So I'm going to put this on and bring it up to a boil. The tomatoes will make all the liquid, and then I'll put the lid on it and I'll let it simmer for 2 hours and boil it up really, really well. And then we'll come back for the next part. So this has been simmering away for 2 hours and it is really nicely cooked down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little whizzer and I'm going to whiz this all up, and then I'm going to strain out the seeds. So yeah, we're getting ready to add the next step. So now I'm just going to spoon the mixture into this mill. I don't know what else you would call it, and get rid of all the seeds, because I just want the pulp. It's a really good invention, this thing. I don't want that to slide in there. There we go. This was my mom's. She was the super canner. She canned everything. She even canned meat, like chicken and fish and stuff like that. And when my dad moved to British Columbia, I went in the house and he said, take anything you want. So I grabbed this because I remember her using this for mostly tomato stuff. Look at all the seeds it's leaving behind. You wouldn't want all that in your soup. So I made this a couple of years ago, and it was delicious. You use it the exact same way as you would use a can of soup. It's a Chip, quiet, please. It's you use it exactly the same way as you would use soup. I mean tomato soup, except with this you have to heat your milk or your half milk, half water, however you make your tomato soup out of a can. You have to heat your milk and you have to heat your tomato base separately and then put them together. Otherwise you will get a curdle because this is real tomato. The acid from the tomato will curdle the milk in this instance. They must, but you can add soda, baking soda, that will help cut that down. And that must be what they add in the commercial soups. They must be putting baking soda right in it. But I don't add it at this stage. I'll do it when I go to make the soup if I want, because sometimes I can use this. For instance, when I make my cabbage rolls, I cook them on the stove, and I always pour a can of tomato soup in with the water. And so I can use this also for that instead of opening a can of tomato soup. So I'm going to continue doing this, and I'll come back when it's ready for the next stage. So here I'm melting down some butter, half a cup of butter, and to that I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of flour and a quarter cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, although I'm only putting 1 tablespoon, I'm cutting the salt down, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to make a little roux, and once I get the flour in here and it starts to thicken, then I will add a little bit of the juice from the tomato just to kind of water it down a bit, and then I'll add all of that into that pot there, and I'll reboil it again to make that thicken, and then it'll be ready for the jars. So that is the next step. Well, my concentrate is nice and thick, so I'm going to start putting it in jars. It smells wonderful in here. And I have my water bath ready. So these will be going in the canner, these ones. Whatever I have left over, I'm just going to freeze. You can either freeze this or can it, process it in a water bath. Either way works just as well. I think in the past I just froze it. But this certainly works too. What is better in the winter time than a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich? Oh, now if that's not heaven, I don't know what is. Now, I don't seem to have any more rings. I'll have to find some. So, all done. And I have a little bit I'm going to make some tomato soup for lunch. Just for me, because Gary can't have it. So that was fun. Now I've got a lot of dishes to do. And there we have it. 6 little pints and a bigger one for company. And then I have enough also for lunch today. So that's not bad out of 7.5 pounds of tomatoes. I hope you try the recipe. It's really good. So give that recipe a bit of a try, and I will put the recipe in the link in the description below. Not in the link, I would just type it up in the description below. So just press on the more, M-O-R-E, and that should get you down there where the recipe is if you're interested in giving it a try. I've had the soup once, and it was so very, very good. So I just wanted to show you that I've had a very productive week, actually, again. It's been a really busy week. I've had a lot of things going on, and I'm not even going to cover everything in this video because it's going to get too long. But I did finish 2 projects. I finished the rose petal afghan, and I'm going to show you that here. I took a little video of it. It turned out beautiful. I'm so happy with how it turned out. So here is the rose petal afghan, all done. Beautiful, beautiful, so soft and cuddly. And then the other thing that I finished was something that I had started 2 years ago maybe, and that is these cable mittens. I had one done, and I just had the cuff started on the second one, and I thought, okay, I'm really going through stuff and picking out things that are not finished and trying to finish them off. That's sort of been my idea of the year, really, to get a lot of these things that I have started finished. So here they are. They turned out really nice. I'm very happy with them. They're really warm, so I'm going to have these on this winter for sure. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the pattern for these because, now where is it? It's an old pattern. I think it probably was my mom's, and it's in this Patton's Gloves and Mitten book. And there's all kinds of patterns in here for different styles of gloves and mittens and things. But this one is the ladies' cable mitts. That's the pattern there. Now, this is an old book. I think this is probably from the early 70s or so. And the patterns in here are written in the old style that patterns were. You know, when if you haven't used a lot of older books, you don't realize how different the style of writing patterns has become. Nowadays, when you purchase a pattern or you get a pattern, and it's a new pattern, it is so explicit. There is nothing that you have to think about. It's all spelled out, even to where to put your markers and things like that. It's pages and pages for one simple pattern, but that's not how patterns used to be written. And this threw me a little bit because I hadn't been, usually if I pick up an old pattern and I start it and I work through it, especially if it's 2 pieces, then I'll pick up the second piece and work on it right away so that I remember what I did, because these patterns have things like knit plain. So, if you're not used to reading a pattern like this, you would think, oh, so I don't cable now? But that's not what it means. It means knit the whole pattern, like go back and repeat the pattern again. Like nothing is spelled out. You have to kind of think simpler. And so it was a bit of a challenge, but I got through it, and I remembered it. As soon as I read through it again, I thought, oh yeah, okay, this is one of these patterns that doesn't spell everything out. You have to really think about it. Also, what they do is you do the right mitten first. That's written out in full. But when you come to the left mitten, because it is a right and a left on these ones, you have to go back to the right and then go back to the left and then go back to the right and go back, because they don't repeat the whole thing. They take portions of the right and they just say, follow right from this row to this row. So that you're flipping back and forth. So it's a little bit frustrating. And these were done on 2 needles instead of in the round. And actually, I was thinking, I want to make another pair of these in a plain color so that you can see the cable. In these ones, this is kind of a speckly yarn. It was just a yarn that I had hanging around here. And the cable doesn't show up. Well, it does show up on the camera, but when you look at it, it's kind of hidden a bit. So I would like to do this in a nice plain color so that you could really see the detail on it, because there's quite a bit of detail on them. Anyway, I might, for my own sake, rewrite this into in the round, so I don't have to sew them up, even though you cannot see, you cannot tell that these were not done in the round. The pattern is really well done. You can't find a seam in here anywhere, but they were very simple to do, all that said and done. So I was thinking about other old patterns that I have, and I'm about to do another pattern that's older than this one. This is from, I don't even have a cover on this book anymore. This is from the war years, from the 40s, obviously. This was my mom's, I think this was her favorite knitting book. And it has absolutely everything in here. It's got hats, gloves, mitts, socks, clothing for children, for men, for women, everything that you could imagine is in this book. And what I really like in this book is these service gloves. Now, the picture is really, really small, but I made a pair of gloves, and the mittens. I made a pair of gloves for Gary last year using this pattern, and it is in the round. It's on DPNs. And I made it out of just a real cheap worsted weight yarn, and they turned out really heavy and warm, very, very warm. And I had made this pattern before, but with more of a DK, and I had made one for Jonathan and one for Gary, and they wear those more for fall or spring. So now I want to make a really heavy pair for Jonathan. So I did what I said I wasn't going to do. I went to Walmart and I picked up a ball of acrylic yarn. And this is nice heavy stuff, and I'm going to make him a pair of heavy mittens for Christmas using this pattern. It's a great pattern, but it's written in the old style. You have to sort of know, and it's left glove you do first, and then the right glove, and you have to go back to the left glove and pick out parts for that to do the right glove. And you have to really write everything down with these older patterns, what you're doing, because you could get lost in the pages very quickly. So, and actually in this one, you actually start it with the mitts pattern, and then it tells you to go to the service glove, left glove pattern, and then for the right one, You start with a missed pattern, then you go to the service left glove, and then you go to the right glove. So you have to have your wits about you with some of these older patterns, but that's how they were written. And they're great patterns if you can get through all of that flipping back and forth stuff. I love them. This book has some really great sock patterns in here too. And actually, I've never been a big fan of doing cables. My mom did, she was a fisherman knit type person. She loved to do those kind of sweaters and afghans and things. And I've always been intimidated by cables, but now I've done cables on a few things and I'm ready to put some on a pair of socks. And I was thinking that when I was working on those mittens, the mittens, I was thinking, you know, I remember as a child, I had, when I was growing up, your footwear was only saddle Oxfords. That was it. I grew up with saddle Oxfords. My dad was a firm believer in them, and they were the only shoes that I wore till probably grade 7. And except for Sundays, I had a pair of black patent leather shoes for church. But otherwise, it was the black and white saddle Oxfords, bar none. But I remember I had a pair of white socks, knee-high socks, that had a cable up the front. And I didn't know it was a cable. I had no idea. But now I know what it was. And I just kind of thought I might make myself a pair of those again. Whatever. There's a pattern for them in here. So I have finished the 2 projects. I finished the Afghan and I finished these. I still have 2 Afghan projects, sort of, kind of. One is, let me grab it. One is this Afghan, stitch sampler Afghan. This is so old already. I bought this from Annie's Attic, I think before the pandemic, or maybe during the pandemic. And it's a beautiful pattern. It really is. I'll put it this way so you can see most of it. It's got lots of different stitches, and I am doing it in these colors. Sorry about the lots of different stitches. And I bought it to teach myself some different stitches, because there's a lot that I would still love to try in knitting, but I have not done it. So I have a lot done on this Afghan. I am over half finished with the pieces. I've shown this to you before. And I need to get on it and get it finished. But I have ordered a new kit. And I do like these Afghan kits because you get everything in here. You get the patterns. You get all the yarn that you need. This has got really nice yarn, this one. It's so nice and soft. I think it's Premier acrylic yarn. So I've got a lot done for this one already. I could probably finish that in a month if I stuck to it. But for some reason, that's one. I love to make the squares, but I am dreading putting them together. I really am. Because after this other one that I did where you just keep knitting and you don't have to put anything together, it kind of spoiled me. And the other Afghan that I have, now where is it, is this one here. And this is a crochet one. I bought this a couple of years ago. I think I got this one from Mary Maxim. And I was all gung-ho to do it. However, I started it and I got this far with it. And I stopped because of this business. I cannot stand cutting my yarn every row. It's just not how I like to work. And all of this is just a bunch of waste as far as I'm concerned, and then you've got to deal with it at the end. And it's mosaic crochet, so you have to cut your yarn at every row. And I don't like that. I really don't like that. So I have all the yarn still there. I think I'm going to rip this up, and I'm going to do it, well, I don't know. I think I might just do it like a regular color work crochet, like something like this kind of thing. I've done lots of Afghans like this where you actually carry your, it's just like color work with knitting. You carry your floats, but in Afghan, when you do it with crochet, it's a lot easier because you just can crochet over your floats. You don't even see them. But I might try and do that Afghan like this, in this style, because I just can't, I can't waste the yarn like that. It just drives me crazy, and I don't want to have to deal with all those ends. So that one's on the back burner for, well, I make up my mind. I don't know. I mean, I like how the finished product is going to be, but I know I can do the same thing with floats. I know I can because I've done it with other Afghans. So we'll see. That one probably is going to stay on the back burner for a long time to come. And then I guess that's really all I have got planned. I did find another pattern. I don't know, for some reason I'm going back to crochet. Crochet was always my go-to thing. I loved crochet, and I did a lot of fine crochet and a lot of yarn with wools and stuff too. But I was on maybe YouTube one day, and this came up as promotion on there, and it was this crocheted slouchy cardigan, and I really like it. I think it's awesome, and it's very easy too. So I printed out the pattern. It's called the, God, don't have glasses on, the Sarosi cardigan, and it's by Hey, oh dear, I didn't write her down. Hey somebody, H-E-Y, let me see if it's on the front. It's not. I'll put it in the description below about this pattern. Anyway, I thought that maybe I would make this. And don't you know, deep down in a drawer, I found one last ball of this stuff. So I'm going to make it out of this. It's just for me. I don't care if it's acrylic or wool right now. I'm just going to make it out of this. And I will have a nice, heavy, slouchy sweater. Because I like to wear this kind of thing if I'm out for my walks at this time of year. And these actually crochet things for me go really fast because I crochet really quickly. And the other Afghan, the one I showed you a couple of videos back that I had ordered, is on the way. That's the black and red checkered one, sort of woodsy looking one. So I'm excited to have that one come, because I know when that comes, I'll drop everything and I'll be working on that one. So that's all I have for you today. Lots of other things to show you and tell you about, but I don't want this video's already going to be way too long. So I will cover that next week, and there'll be something totally different next week, I promise. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next one. Stay well, everybody, and take care. Bye for now.